François Picard here with Catherine Norris Trent, fresh off the plane from Tripoli. And Catherine, we saw the report that you filed. We saw you duck a couple of times when you did your stand-ups in Tripoli. Of course, one of the amazing things, I got to ask you about this, is people who are watching this from the outside forget. This is all happening during the month of Ramadan. So how do these fighters do it?
Well, absolutely, that is a big question. A lot of them are sticking to Ramadan and not eating or even drinking water during the day, and there's temperatures of around 40 degrees Celsius. It's very intense sun indeed. Some of them, though, are eating and drinking to keep themselves going, and they say that they're allowed to because they're fighting, so that's an exception to that rule. But yeah, it is very exceptional conditions. As soon as sun falls, you see a lot of people really quickly stocking up, getting food and trying to replenish themselves. But fighting goes on through the night and the day in very difficult circumstances.
Now, when you were in Tripoli back in March, the question everyone was asking is, what's Gaddafi like? Now the question is, what's Gaddafi's compound like?
Gaddafi's compound is absolutely extraordinary. It's huge. It takes up several square kilometres in Tripoli, so it's not just a few buildings. It is a whole neighbourhood, really, with very heavily fortified. It was anyway, with lots of inner and outer walls of defences that the rebels had to break down in order to get inside there, and they really achieved that by at least a day and a half of very heavy fighting, pounding it with mortars, heavy artillery, machine gun fire. So it's an extraordinary achievement for them to have taken that. Inside now, it's been pillaged, looted, devastated by all the fighting. And interesting, a lot of the rebels were trying to get a souvenir, trying to steal things from the regime as they came back out, and a lot of them were carrying brand new machine guns. There were huge stockpiles of weapons inside the compound. A lot of the rebels taking even more guns, even more weapons back out with them, leading a lot of people in Tripoli to fear that there's going to be continuing violence for quite a long time.
And one final question for you. When you were there back in March, there was the fears of a bloodbath, a genuine, real divided city that there were a lot of Gaddafi loyalists inside Tripoli, but that's not what you found, at least in the neighbourhoods that you visited. Absolutely.
There were a lot of unanswered questions about just how much popular support Gaddafi still had in the capital, and the neighbourhoods where we were sheltering with people who were opposed to Gaddafi.
Are you surprised at how easy it was, to a certain degree, getting into Tripoli?
Well, when we pushed through with the rebels, we were really unsure what the road was going to be like, and a very nervous journey, of course, very tense. And as we drove through, only rebel supporters out on the streets manning checkpoints, and as soon as they saw we were journalists, they welcomed us. I'm not just saying this for the channel. As soon as they saw we were France 24, we were welcomed with open arms, and people really wanted us. They said, show these pictures to the world, show what's happening in Tripoli, and they really wanted to welcome us in. And the kindness of some of the actual people who sheltered us in their homes at great danger to themselves and provided us with food and water, absolutely staggering. And they said they couldn't do enough to help us because we had shown the resistance to Gaddafi to the world, and this was their way of thanking us, but exceptional kindness in very difficult times.
And we want to thank you for working under very difficult conditions. Mind me again, Catherine, your Twitter account?
Oh yeah, CN Trent, F24.
All right, François Picard here with Catherine Norris Trent.